Welcome to Ambedextrious. Good day and welcome once again to Ambedextrious, the open forum pursuing dialogue, engagement, collaboration, exposure, and understanding amongst ourselves with select members of our social fabric that may lend to your experience some strength and hope to all those who participate and view this. The goal and intent of Ambedextrious is to lead the process, clarify maybe some fuzzy issues, and support those in this, our global viewing audience. Our expectations for you is the focus of our desire to simply and hopefully for you to learn, share, and, if possible, participate in an honest and open and willing manner that may cause you to grow, develop, and most significantly, enjoy. So, enjoy. Now, known by various and assorted names for you, this is simply Coach, and this episode and encounter features one who has been an integral influence of my life, someone that I've known for many, many years. He is a member of a family that I consider, when I write the history of this, my hometown, known as Wide Awake, Wilson, North Carolina, I don't believe I could go 2 or 3 paragraphs without mentioning his family name. We're going to allow him to introduce himself to us, to share his wisdom, strength, experience, and hope. And we're located here at the nexus of Nash and Pender Street in Wilson, North Carolina, just a stone's throw from Jackson Chapel Missionary Baptist Church, and right at the intersection of what was known in North Carolina history as the old Plank Road. So without further ado, I welcome you to listen in to the Honorable Milton Toby Fitch. Welcome, Your Honor.
Coach, good to be here with you.
Great, great, great. So I want to start right off the top here, and I thank you so much. And I've been anticipating this with great excitement. And I thank you for allowing me to intrude on your rich and full schedule. So, if you would, I offer for us, this will be the section we'll call this Getting to Know You, Getting to Know All About You. Give us just a brief sketch, biographical sketch of your life, your history. Who are you, where did you come from?
Milton F. Toby, nicknamed Fitch Jr. I'm one of 5 children of Milton and Cora Fitch. By way of number, I'm number 2. My brother Jerry is number 1. I'm number 2. My sister Pat is number 3. And then the twins are 4 and 5. I was educated in the public schools of Wilson, North Carolina, having graduated from Charles H. Darden High School in 1964. I then went on to North Carolina Central University. I played football at North Carolina Central, majored in political science and biology, and played football there, and I went to law school there, and while I was in law school, I coached football at North Carolina Central. I had great defensive clubs there, ball clubs there, and we won the championship for the MEAC, I believe, in 2003.
Okay.
I believe that was it.
And I would guess that probably many people might be surprised to realize that you actually have a background in coaching.
Yeah, well, I coached at both North Carolina Central, and then I went on to Delaware, at the Delaware State in Dover, and I had thought about trying to get on at Cornell up in Ithaca, New York, and I received my letter of admissions upon passing the bar, and that was a lifelong ambition. And so to have passed the bar in 1975, it was then time to go on and start practicing law.
Okay.
And so I did it, and I think I I hope I'm right with these years. Birthdays are coming and going, and so sometimes a 7 looks like something else, and so we do the best we can. I know I did those things, but whether or not that was the year, I think I am correct. And now I spent practiced law with G.K. Butterfield and Quentin Sumner under the law firm of Fitch, Butterfield, and Sumner. We then went to the name of Fitch, Butterfield, and Wynn. James Wynn is on the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm a very lucky guy. All that were true partners have all gone on to be judges throughout their career. Butterfield's Superior Court and Supreme Court, but I have to say Quentin Sumner first. Quentin Sumner was the first out of the firm to hit the bench. He was at the district court, and then from the district court to the Superior Court. Butterfield then came, went to the Superior Court. Wynn then went to the Court of Appeals, and then to the Supreme Court. I went to the Superior Court, and after being on the bench, I stayed there for 18 years. I retired here about 5 years ago, and I went back to the General Assembly of the North Carolina Senate after having served 20 years in the House. And I'm back now at home doing what I can to help individuals. We just finished a expungement clinic that I'm very proud of, where we're giving back to the community, individuals that have committed felons that are eligible to be expunged and certain rights given back to them. We're doing all that we can at no charge to do their expungement papers for them. Hopefully they can live good lives and get jobs, and without the benefit of a negative slapping them, keeping them from being able to find.
Well, that is quite noble. And so you're doing this pro bono, no fee? It
does not. Nobody pays no fee to any person. Mm-hmm. We had the first clinic, open clinic, this past weekend, and we had over 250 people to attend. We had a room in the library of Wilson, the main library, and they didn't have a room big enough to hold us, and so over capacity. I knew what the law was; it couldn't be over capacity. Mm-hmm. So we sent people down to 603 East Nash Street, which is where I'm working out of, and we worked up until we started in the morning at 9 o'clock, and we worked all the way up till 10:45 that night. We've been back in here swamped yesterday, where we stayed here last night to almost 12 o'clock, and then we're still here today. So we've got, at some time, maybe you can just let those who've been helping and working with me, Valencia Gaskin and Angelique Leggett, who is also with us, and they right now in the room doing some of the paperwork for some people who can't get off work or haven't been able to get off work at a time of normal business, and so we're here like that.
Now, we'll talk about a little bit more about what are the guidelines for expungement. You said there's no fee. Is that standard? Is whoever does this, offers this service, they can't charge?
No. People can charge because that's a legal service from a lawyer. I don't know what people are charging, but I would venture to say that unless somebody's doing it for civic purposes, that's a fee worthy of $2,000 to $3,000. And what a person does is, if they have and feel like they have a crime that needs to be expunged, that they would like to have expunged, mm-hmm. they would first start out by going to the clerk's office, mm-hmm. and the county for which they live or the county for which the crime was committed, they get a certified copy of their record. They then bring that certified copy to us, and we then comb through it to make sure that they are eligible or that offense is eligible. Crimes that are violent crimes or crimes that are A through G are not expungible. H and I are. And so you can't have anything of any violence. You can't have a DWI. Those are not expungible. So it's strictly by the guidelines. Either you're qualified or you're not. If you are, it is still a lot of paperwork. A lot of people get nervous when they have to do all that paperwork, so we take the guesswork out and do it in a very professional manner. I'm actually working with a group called When People Work, and you can fill it in. There's so many things you can say about when people work. When people work, they are happy. When people work, they have money in their pocket. When people work, they feel good about themselves. They have a part of the American dream, and that's what it's all about. And, with these felons, even if it were 100 years ago, if it is a felon that is not expungible, it will not come off of your record.
Well, that is really astounding and commendable that you're providing that civic possibility, service, and I've heard about expungements from afar, but I didn't realize all the particulars. And with the caseload that you described here, it sounds like that particular process isn't being deployed, hadn't been deployed anywhere. And real question is, there's no borders, someone from another county or municipality could just come here?
As long as it's a North Carolina crime.
Gotcha. Okay.
We do not deal with federal. We do not deal with another state. But North Carolina, if that person came to us and asked for services, if they were in Durham County, we would undertake it. But we would have to go to Durham County to file the paperwork,
Right.
And the whole process would start at the clerk of court there. But other than being a resident of North Carolina, following the laws of North Carolina, we will do what we can to assist.
Well, let me, on behalf of those who are unnamed and not present, just from the standpoint of being a member of this community, I just thank and appreciate that so much, because I can see the overall ramifications that might have to an individual's life. But I'm certain you described there that at least that might clear some hurdles and obstacles and roadblocks that might prevent them from exercising their full citizenship status.
Well, I will tell you that Saturday, from street to street, parking lot to parking lot, you would have thought that we were having a block party here. All of those folks that were here, with child and without child, male and female, we were swamped. All of the vacant spots around 603 and 615 East Nash Street were taken with people with their cars. They came 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband and wife, old, young, all came to participate and to see. I mean, it was one beautiful thing. I said in talking to the people at the public library and making a joke, I said, some of you I've seen as defendants, and I may have been your lawyer. Some I have seen as the judge, and I may have been the one who sentenced you. And to see you now, those things you are a little late in doing, but it is better late than never. And just to see that people had such a positive attitude about that situation. People were explaining that I need this in order to have a better life for my children, etc.
My goodness.
As they were saying in church, you could hear people giving their testimonies. And no incident.
Well,
people always think that we're going to have an incident if a bunch of us get together. There was absolutely no problems. And so we think that we'll do it again, do another one, and maybe do it outside. And Mike can ask some vendors to come around and cook. But I'm looking to probably have another one about June 15th. That'll be on the Juneteenth weekend with
that would be
quite outstanding and very fitting.
Oh my goodness. Well, to that extent, let me offer you, extend an invitation for you to the extent that it is permissible to come back and,
Oh, absolutely. We'd be glad to have you participate in it. You can do all the footage with people. You can talk to people and get there.
Okay.
Yeah, if they will talk to you about what it's all about, that's fine with me.
Well, I just want to get an impact statement.
Yeah.
What has this process that you've undergone impacted? How has it actually changed or impacted your activities on a daily living, your day-to-day life?
Well, it's impacted me right now that myself and the staff is just tired as hell. That's what's happening. I mean, when you figure it's just like a doctor. I mean, a doctor makes his money based off of how many people he brings into his office.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we cannot do 200, 250, 300 people at one time. But when we took the names, the people signed up to come. They had only expected that there would be about 15 people who would come to get their records expunged. We did it in conjunction with Reverend Hill, and there was other topics. One was entrepreneurship, and one was about the job market. And when they asked who was here for jobs, nobody stood. When they asked who was here for entrepreneurship, nobody stood that I saw. When they talked about expunging the record, the whole daggone room stood up.
And so it sounds like to me, not to get too deep in the weeds here, that has been quite a commitment altruistically, it be of resources and time and all those sort of things that you have to absorb it, because you're saying, I'm hearing you suggest that you could charge $1,000.
That's my opinion. I mean, I wasn't in the business of doing that, but somebody doing it. The process itself takes at least a year.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And what ends up happening is you fill out a form saying that this is the crime that you committed that you would like to have expunged. That record then goes to a district attorney who must agree that that is the state of the record. Number two, the matter is filed. It is served on the district attorney's office, and then it takes the law enforcement route. These all checks will end up being further screened all the way through SBI, FBI, etc. before they can come off the record. What you're talking about doing is somebody was involved in a crime that was nonviolent, that is hampering them in being able. And you're wiping that record off, because once the order is signed, that record of that incident is of no more.
And so what you're doing, you're getting the ball rolling, so to speak. Starting the process. This is the first phase of the process to the final expungement. Well, I thank you for sharing that, and I mean that's a value added for the folks in direction we had today. Just that sheer information right there, I believe, I'll have it out, will help many people, and I exhort you to continue to the extent that you can, but also don't forget to take care of yourself, which I know you will do. But that is,
best I can.
And I would suggest that exemplifies what is called a true public servant, a servant of the people, and you operate under that guise and from those platforms in various capacities. And to quote a historical figure, this might be your finest hour. this might be your, this might be your finest hour. If I could, I'd like to get back and reflect. You mentioned about your upbringing, that background. If you could maybe just reflect back some memories of some individuals. And I got it sort of compartmentalized off here from my first encounter experience with you was at Elvis Street. And I'm not going to go to all those details. Those will remain personal details between me and you, how I first encountered you. But from that particular time frame.
Well, the first encounter that he's talking about with me, we went to the same church, ended up at the same elementary school. I was sort of big for my size. I became the captain of the safety patrol. And he was a little skinny boy, coming from down around off of Manchester Street. I suggested to him that he'd be a perfect person to be a safety patrol member. So I gave him a badge, and he took that badge like it was something good to eat. It was all shiny. He was polishing it up. And the next thing I knew, he was flashing his badge and trying to tell somebody what to do, and somebody went upside his head. When he came back to school the next day, he told me I could have that badge. He didn't have nothing else and no more use for it.
That was it. That was it. That was it. I don't, and I know you didn't set me up, but Fat and Donnie Best, they set me upside the wall. Down there was our wardrobe cleaners after school. And like I said, so that ended my career.
Was that Donnie Best, Lil Red?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, him and Fat, his brother.
His brother, Julius.
Yeah. Because all I told him, like, if you give me instructions, keep people in line when it's time for the lunchroom. I said, you broke line. And they almost broke my neck then after school. So I don't know if I should besmirch you for that or commend you, because there went my career in the legal profession, I'll say.
Well, you stayed a law-abiding citizen. That's more important.
On the straight and narrow. So that Elvis Street experience, I'll just throw a couple of names out there for memory's sake. Milton Daniels.
Yeah, M.M. Daniels was the principal of the school. And I mean, he was a taskmaster. Back in those days, you would do something wrong, and rather than tell your parents, they would tell you to go sweep the floor, clean the blackboard. And I always seemed like the hammer always fell on me, and I always got caught doing something. And he told me I had to clean the floor. And I went to talk about that thing my daddy was running around talking about it. He said, boy, I sent you to school to learn. I didn't send you to school to be no janitor. So I didn't know I was supposed to not repeat what he said. And I ended up saying, I ain't no janitor, Mr. Daniels. And I caught the devil behind that. But Mr. Daniels was a great man. He was a great man.
And speaking of that, I remember the custodian, Mr. Jones.
Well, there was Mr. Big Jones and Mr. Barnes and Mr. Barnes. There was Mr. Frank Barnes and Mr. Short Barnes. Okay. They were the custodians of Elvis Street.
Okay. And I remember, like I said, vividly, and I think, and I could correct me if I'm wrong, I think I remember a couple of them knuckleheads that I ran around with getting some punitive disciplining. Remember they had the boiler room downstairs, shoveling coal.
Shoveling coal, yes.
And I think part of this, to talk about how the educational system has changed and the pedagogy, I believe I remember a couple of guys going out there and taking our class shoveling coal in one. I could be wrong, but
I can't attest to
that.
I can't answer that.
All right.
But I mean, if I had to sweep the classroom and wash the blackboard, I mean, work was something that folks of our generation who were our elders were not shy about putting you to work.
Right.
And I mean, they were not shy about disciplining you either.
Right.
Because if you were a child,
you're
supposed to act like a child and be a child. And then when you become an adult, then you can put away those childish things. But I got more whippings away from home than I got in home.
Yeah. Those early years, prior to that, did you attend any of the kindergarten schools here? And was Elby, I'm trying to think, when was Elby? When did they open?
I don't know now when they opened, but I started at Elby Street School until I got to the 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
And at that time, the day was split because we had Hurricane Hazel, I believe, and I ended up going to the actual school in the afternoons.
Didn't realize that.
And we had classes that did half a day at Elby, and another class may have done a half a day at the old Elks Club.
Right, I do remember the Elks Club housing some students at some point. As I said, I probably in 2nd and 3rd grade somewhere, in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade during that period of time. Now moving on over to your Darden years. Any memorable personalities, events that you're at liberty to share about that particular experience?
There's too many of them to even talk about, and most of them
you don't want to talk about me?
I think some of my friends, both here and those who have gone to the great hereyonder, would appreciate me keeping it to myself. But it was a
You've always been loyal.
It was a true experience to have come up and have been over at Darden. And the thing that's good about that now is that as an athlete at Darden, we made certain friends at different schools. I had a friend at E.E. Smith named Jimmy Ray, a tremendous quarterback.
Oh, please, talk about that.
I've had a friend at Georgetown named Robert Grant, Bob Grant, who was the first black to play football at ACC.
Wake Forest University.
At Wake Forest, that is correct. And we get together now at least once a month and talk about yesterday.
Bob Grant?
Bob Grant is still alive. He is the president and founder of the NFL Players Disability something. Anyway,
wow.
His group does all of the paraphernalia for the NFL, and that fund takes care of ball players who are not health-wise and money-wise where they were at one time. And they fill in the gap. And Jimmy is still a tremendous guy. I mean, I've only seen one other quarterback that I thought was as good or better, and that was a guy named Pat White from over in J.W. Ligon in Raleigh. So, like I say, we get together by phone. Jimmy is in Southern Pines, and he is still an offensive coordinator and works with the Chargers. And Bob is in L.A. It's just amazing. But a lot of those guys who were here at those schools, probably my best friend athletically was a guy named Thurman Jones from Hillside, was a punter and a fullback, and he's no more. The best pound for pound guard that I've ever known is a guy named Levy Pug Dixon. I played right beside him. I went just the other day. I was out at the cemetery. I went by and said hey to him. But it just was a time and a place, and I'm fortunate to have come along at that particular time.
My goodness. Pug Dixon, and his brother Juke, I think he's still surviving.
No, Juke is down dead too.
Okay. And your coaching during that tenure at Darden?
Well, there was I grew up at a point in time where the coach football was a guy named Dave Atkins. Dave Atkins was, they called him Big Red. He was at Darden, and he left Darden and he went over to Booker T in Rocky Mountain. And then James Bumps Elliott from Durham, who went to Second Ward and was the line coach for Al Montgomery. Both of them were teammates at North Carolina Central, and they ended up getting back together in Charlotte at Second Ward. Bumps came to Wilson, and then there was J.C. Ellis, who was from Fayetteville State. We just had a tremendous group of guys who told it to you like you needed to hear it, whether you wanted to or not, and they weren't afraid to get in your chest and to get into your space. And a guy like me and some of these other guys that I played with, you needed to get into their space. The biggest thing that I remember, whether it was a win or a lose, was we had a good season, and I decided that I had knocked this one out in this game and knocked that one out in that game, and then it came time for the Turkey Bowl in Wilson. And I thought I was a pretty good lineman, a pretty good tackler, and I went out there across from the old Hamilton funeral home where they were knocking guys out sure enough. And once I got hit one time, I said, y'all can have this thing. I felt like somebody that had been beat up on, and I was ready to run across the field and not let my uniform get any dirty than what it was.
You filled in some historical gaps there for me as it relates to some of the personalities there.
Even then, there was no football coach and a basketball coach. The basketball coach was also part of the staff of the football. When you look at it, we had those that I named. Some all were not there at the same time. Bumps Ellis was not there when Tom Laughlin was there. J.C. Harris was there. Then you had Sam Gray. I mean, Sam Gray was right down. I mean, he came from a little school called Maryland Eastern Shore in Princess Anne, Maryland, but he knew basketball and he knew football. That's that village that guys my age still remember. It took all of those folks in order to make us. And how you can tell it took a village. We took two trips. They could have broken in to every house in Wilson. People left the doors wide open, nobody bothered anything. They went right down here at the corner of Large and Nash Street where the Atlantic Coastline Railroad track intersected. And people got their tickets and got on that train. The train went to Wilmington, North Carolina. We played the game. The train went to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we played the game.
Not to interrupt, but please look into the camera and restate that, because that is historical archival information that most people can't believe. You did what that you did?
Took trains.
To a game.
To a game. The train would pull into Fayetteville along the tracks that the U.S. government uses going into Fort Bragg. It would pull in. You'd get off. You'd go to E.E. Smith, play your ball game, come back to the train, and the train would back out, hit the spur track and turn around and come back to Wilson. Did the same thing down in Wilmington at Williston High School. The town emptied, and every time there was a game out of town, if we did not take a train, people took carpools. People riding together, and never any trouble. Goldsboro at Dillard, Rocky Mount at Booker T. Of course, you'd have to, if you won the game and that Wright's Chick Shack trophy was up, we had to tell the bus driver, you get on the track and creep along, because if you were going to get that trophy, you better get that trophy and hurry up and jump in that car. Coach Lofton was from Kinston. We went down to Kinston and played the boys down there at Kinston and pouring down rain. When we come back, we ain't had no windows in the bus. It just pouring down rain and cold as could be. Didn't have to change the clothes either because they were gone.
And you speak about those times and those events, and especially that part about the social order of things. Can we are we too far down the road? Can we, of course you can't go back in time, but can we, maybe let me put it in a form, what is it we are not doing to reestablish that type of community, camaraderie or trust or whatever term you might want to use to designate?
Well, this country's always had a problem with that type of situation. Even in my opinion, in slavery, we had that problem. People managed to take one group against another group. Well, the thing one thing that's good about being an athlete, and that is that all of these superficial things don't seem to matter. The fact that you are an athlete, the fact that you are this, is a bond. There is a bond. And so it was no secret that when we played on Friday night, fight people who did not have a game, they would come to our game. When it came time to all the, whatever their necks were not able to stop something basketball-wise. Darden's team was playing Fike's team or Coon's team with the door closed so that people didn't come in raising sand. Well, that was on the local level. But guess what? At North Carolina Central, the athletes at Central and the athlete at Duke was doing the same thing, and that was at an institution of higher learning. And they never wanted to play us as a real game because I mean we were
under public scrutiny.
Yeah, I mean we were better athletes. Now the athlete of yesterday that would go to the HBCU is the star at this other school that a couple of years before then you couldn't even get on campus. I mean when you look at the friendship between Bear Bryant and John McKay broke the ice. John McKay at USC was winning, and Alabama could not get that number one spot. So they agreed at the American Football Coaches Association meeting in Chicago that next year they would try to play one another. And I saw that type of situation kind of play out when I was coaching at Central. I went down to scout a game in Troy State, and they had blacks on the team, but they played Dixie, and the homeboy would run that ball and tell you they did not hump that tater bag. So McKay, upon agreeing to play Alabama down in Tuscaloosa,
the heart of Dixie,
the Bear started trying to ease it. He'd go through all the country stores and talk about they were going to play this school and they were going to have these little black boys playing, and the man at the store said, we don't need to play them. We all right, you don't need to play them. and USC beat them. So when Bear, so the story goes, when Bear went back to the country store, the man at the country store said, yeah, Bear, I tell you, said, we could have won if we had one of them little boogers playing for us. Okay? And so in order to have them play for you, you got to do what? You got to recruit him.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at it now. I mean, look at the NFL. Roughly 80% of the NFL looks like you, look like me. Okay, it wasn't always that way. I mean, I remember when the Atlanta Hawks were winning every game just about in Atlanta basketball, when nobody would come to see them play because it was 5 black boys starting. Pistol Pete got on the team. They were losing, but what the stadium was full.
So, to summarize what you're suggesting was obvious that sports and athletics has been a good pathway.
The Greeks saw it long time ago. That on the field of competition, you can make friends. Max Mellon and Joe Louis made friends. Hitler never made friends with Jesse Owens, but it didn't matter. Okay. It didn't matter. It made Hitler understand that he was not as superior as he thought he was.
That's a powerful reframe.
Okay.
The power of sports and athletics. Well, powerful stuff. And I don't want to overlook, and let me know we're on your time, you're on your schedule. And I don't want to overlook this course like this. And I suggest that intentionally talk about your mother. And I say that from the standpoint of I remember her as being one of the most caring and compassionate individuals in this time, especially for me. It was during the time, a critical point in my life in which my father had passed. And I was at a summer Bible school right across the street from us. And I just loved her. She would just greet me with the greatest, warmest hug. So just, to the extent you can, what did she instill in the fabric of your family?
Well, my mother was a tremendous person. She married a tremendous person. And my mother was the one of two.
Miss Corrine or Cora?
Cora.
Cora, right.
She was one of 2 children born to Helen and Walter Whitted. My grandfather, my mother's father, was from Durham, North Carolina. His name was James A. Whitted. And my mother was Cora Beckwith. Her folks kind of came out of Johnston County. My grandfather's folks came out of Durham. She was a strong person in her own right. My father was a strong person. My mother used to fight for my uncle. She didn't let nobody do him in. He was a smaller statured man that was somewhat sickly, and she was always his rock. My mother kind of stepped back a little bit when she married my dad, and she had somebody who would fight.
A force to be reckoned with himself.
There you are. And first, they made sure that we knew who we were, that we knew our heritage. Now, the Whittits and Durham are some of those that were on Black Wall Street. Whittits, Fitzgeralds.
Pettigrew Street, Haytide District.
Oh, yes. But then when you start talking about on my father's side, his grandfather was a slave in New Bern. who taught himself how to read and write, wrote his own memoirs. You can check it out. There's a book that he wrote. There's a book that he wrote called Recollection of My Slavery Days.
My goodness. Repeat that if you would, please.
Recollections of My Slavery.
And his name was?
His name is William Henry Singleton, who first fought for the Confederacy, got captured by General Andrew Burnside. Burnside saw this young slave who understood military maneuvers, carried him to Fort Monroe, Virginia, introduced him to a guy named Abraham Lincoln, whom Singleton asked of Lincoln, if you say this war is about us, why can't we fight for our own freedom? Lincoln's response was, not now for your contrabands of war. The Emancipation Proclamation was then issued, and he then was able to not be a contraband but be a free man, and then was thus able to fight for his own freedom. So coming into this world and coming into life in North Carolina, knowing who you are, whose you are, and what you are, is a tremendous combination. It is a 1-2 punch. I never have forgotten whose God I am, where I am, and what I am. And you never will forget that if you ever learn that. So having the knowledge of what's on my right and what's on my left, I had a roadmap. And so it's just a matter of sticking to that roadmap. Then my father comes along and goes to work for Martin King in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference as a state field secretary. Him and a guy named Golden Frinks. I then got involved with, along with GK, and we went everywhere that my daddy was having a demonstration. So I mean, you grow up that way, and hopefully the tree don't fall too far from where the root is. So
the service, I guess, it's too harsh a term to say resistance, but I would at least say confronting systemic inequities or whatever is in the fabric of your DNA, and I would say your entire family.
Well, it is. I mean, my sisters, Pat and Ernestine, when the charge and call came for somebody of color to go to fight, they were my sisters. Christine stayed at Darden. Her twin went to fight.
2 battlefields. that is rich and great. And I thank you so much for sharing, especially those tender moments of reflections. I really do earnestly thank you for that. There's one individual I definitely, who did you coach? Who coached you essentially? Was it Herman Riddick?
That's right.
And you coached along with, was it Riddick or Quiet?
I went there under Riddick. The next coach under Riddick was Riddick's #1 defensive assistant, who's a guy named Jimmy Stevens.
Okay.
Jimmy Stevens then left, and Quiet then became. I coached with Quiet, under Quiet, for Quiet.
So fabulous teams in the early to the mid 70s.
Correct.
You got, as I recall, another opportunity. He set me up to get go upside my head my first start in college. You were the defensive coordinator for Central at that particular time.
Well,
so
you got the
really
same.
You got me messed up twice, bro.
You got the same thing that James Lewis got when he was at Livingstone or Williams Dynamite that he got when he was there. I mean, you know, they didn't want to listen, and I told them that it would be nice if they would, you know, just go somewhere else. But since they decided they wanted to stay there, we let them know where the master was and where they were. And last time I saw James Lewis, he was talking about, of course, James Lewis was at Winston-Salem, and Dynamite was at Livingstone, and then Frank Jones got Joe Roundtree and some others to all go up there, and we thought we'd have to tack them along a little bit. I only went after one kid and missed him, and the kid that I missed was Carlester Crumpler. I thought we had him, and if we didn't have him, I thought Livingstone would have gotten him because of Carlester's girlfriend, but it didn't work out that way, Gertha. But that's the only athlete that I ever tried to get that I did not get. I mean, you go to Rocky Mount, there's Thomas Lancaster and a P.D. Bartley. I mean, I lost my job behind P.D. Bartley and Lank, along with Reggie Supernat. Nat was a little kid, and by this time, Quiet is out, and Willie Smith is the head coach. And Willie Smith said I had no business signing Supernat to a 4-year contract when they were now just switching over to a 1-year contract. And I signed him as this was my area, and I signed him for 4 years, and next thing I knew, I was out the door. But you know, when you do wrong, things come back, because 2 years thereafter, I'm at Delaware now, and 2 years thereafter, we came back down to homecoming, and I was the only Eagle in the stadium.
So I think I'm seeing a theme is don't cross your honor. Payback is something.
We put a whooping on him that the alumni went to alumni dance, and when the dance was over, Willie no longer was the head coach in the middle of the season.
So for future reference there, as I said, here come the judge, and the judge is honoring. You don't want to get the judge honoring today. Still moving on toward conclusion here. I didn't get your father. What's he named? Is he named North Carolina?
No, my father was from New Haven, Connecticut,
okay, all right.
which is a story in and of itself.
Go ahead.
My mother is a Bennett Bell, and Bennett Bell's, being a black finishing school for girls, if you wanted to go north and work during the summer, you could always go to Bridgeport, Connecticut, and work at an all-girls exclusive camp. So my mother goes up to work, and Bridgeport is 18 miles from New Haven, just as Rocky Mount is 18 miles from Wilson.
Okay.
And so they got to know one another, and fell in love with one another and got married, and along comes my brother. And while my father's parents were still alive and in New Haven, my mother just felt like when she came home, once decided that she didn't want to go back, she wanted to stay and let her first child spend more time with her mother rather than her husband's mother. And that worked, and then the war ended. And my father came to get my mother and to go back, because he was working at Winchester Repeating. And farms. And he met friends of my mother, and these guys wanted to start a business. They wanted to have a taxi company. And
in New Haven, correct?
No, here in Wilson.
Okay.
And they wouldn't issue a permit. So my father went to Winston-Salem to the VA, and they told him that he had to have an appointment in order to see whoever was in charge. And he says, well, here's my DD 214, that is my appointment, and so forth and so on. Well, it got down, they started right down by across from Artist's Barbershop, a oil company. And this time, everybody's burning kerosene and coal. So blacks veterans wanted to do taxis, and they wanted to start what was known as the Veterans Cab Company.
Oh.
And they tried to block that. And then other guys wanted cabs, fuel, or wanted to go to work in the post office. And of course, in the post office, you had to take an exam. My dad took the exam, scored a 98 on the exam, but couldn't get hired.
Here comes the story.
There was a lady who was the nanny of a guy named Adam Clayton Powell.
Wow.
Adam Clayton Powell was the congressman from New York, and a congressman from Connecticut named Ribicoff. Abraham Ribicoff. So Ribicoff was over the Postal Service. He wanted some deals about education. Powell was over education and knew my family because the person who raised him was my father's Aunt Joe. So, and if you look up Ann Adams' book, you will find that there is a Josephine Collins who was his nursemaid. So they gave my father a job
Here it was.
in Wilson, and that's how he got in the post office.
Yeah. And just a little brief moment there. Adam Clayton Powell,
Abyssinia Baptist Church.
Abyssinia Baptist Church in the Bronx, New York, in New York City, Brooklyn, and served. I guess at one point he had the most, I believe, seniority.
Oh yeah, they stripped it.
Can you fill in any details on that?
Well, Adam was.
And the implications.
Adam was a flashy guy.
Mm.
He was a very intelligent guy, but he was a ladies' man, and he had power. See, Adam was not the one chosen originally to be the black congressman.
Mm.
The person that was chosen, that they thought they had the fix in for, was a guy named A. Philip Randolph.
Ah.
And Adam ran against him and beat him.
To his shock and surprise. Mm-hmm.
Well, he had Abyssinia behind him. The people who would have supported A. Philip were going to support their preacher. And it's strange because I got a chance to pay an old debt back.
I'm seeing a theme of the trend.
Power was in Durham, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
The night that Martin King was killed. And Adam thought that what was about to happen was that there was going to be a conspiracy to kill black leadership in America. Martin got killed.
Mm.
Adam is there.
Mm.
And so I got teammates of mine and GK, and we surrounded the doctor's house that Adam was staying in. So that
Name of that doctor, you remember who that was?
Dr. Cook
Okay.
on Lawson Street, right across from the cafeteria. And we stayed up all night long making sure that nobody penetrated a perimeter where that house was, and that Adam was going to be safe. And carried him to the airport the next morning, where GK drove his Plymouth Satellite right up to the airplane. Adam got out, got on the plane, and I never saw him again afterwards.
Wow. Wow.
But
And before he was stripped of that seniority ship, he was in line to be the, I believe, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee.
yeah, but he had been the chairman. He had gotten his stripes by being the chairman of the educational committee.
Gotcha. Okay.
And everybody gets money just like right now. I mean, you know, the big budget is education. So he was in a position with Title I's and all these others to be able to give you what you needed at an institution. So he had the power, but, you know, he was flashy. He smoked them cigarettes and drank that liquor, and he would tell you.
And I'm glad you opened that portal. I had an encounter with Adam just as, I guess it was when there was this storm arising in opposition against him, hosted him, Student Government Association, when I was once at Salem State University. So all those things, that profile that you described, I could see a lot of elements that.
Well, it is nice to go back and look at his life story on YouTube in the form of a movie. But you know, everybody said that Adam owned an island, Bimini. A raggedy duck. You know, but he was in the Caribbean. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't no Michael Jordan house.
All right.
It wasn't no mansion. It wasn't
Fantasy Island.
No, it was a little shack.
Okay. As we come to closure here, I'm going to do a little, what I'm calling here, rapid fire. I'm going to throw some names out there. First of all, let me back up. One word that would describe Toby Fitch.
Move on to something else.
That's 3 words, by the way, but anyway. So, throw some names out here, many of which we've already talked about. Who was your English teacher at Darden?
Addie Higgins.
Tell us a little bit about it.
A lady is right on, one of the smartest people I've ever met. A woman I love very dearly. Has been a big help to me. A tremendous friend of my family's. She's a good North Carolina Central graduate. And the Eagles fly high.
And to the extent, for those who are viewing this, and thank you for that preview for upcoming episodes, I was able to, LMG Media, who's here with us today on site, filming this, I actually did a piece, my piece called Porch Talk with her about 2 summers ago. So anticipate that in upcoming segments. Your fiercest opponent, athletically or any other platforms you'd be wish to share with your fiercest opponent?
Well, my most fierce opponent was athletically, probably have 2.
Okay.
There was a young man down in Wilmington, tremendous athlete,
Okay.
that I had an opportunity to hit. And when I
Look, I want to get to the part. I want to get to the part where you were the hitter. Everything I'm hearing you describe here, you were the hitter. Go ahead.
when I hit him, after he had already hit me, I watched his shoelaces pop. So that's probably the hardest I ever hit somebody, or somebody ever hit me. But there was a fellow named Domino at Hillside that Coach Lofton just told me that while he appreciated me, I could not do anything with him. And I had to dig in to be able to get some respect, to be able to maneuver during the course of the game. So the first 3 or 4 downs, I just jumped offside and hit him. And so once he was looking for me to hit him, I controlled the rest of the game.
That's employ excellent tactics.
Great sack.
And a strategy. Some of your first, and if I'm correct, your election to the General Assembly, did that break some historical barriers or set some historical precedents?
Yeah, I became the first majority leader of color.
In the history of the...
In the history of the state, I became the first black to ever preside over the North Carolina House. Before Dan Blue was even elected, the elected speaker, I wore the title of speaker, and I was the first ever majority whip that North Carolina ever had.
Outstanding. Any challenges in those various roles that you play, judge, being a member of the Assembly, the Senate, anything that comes to mind that was most challenging for you?
Well, first and foremost, for those opportunities, I thank those who supported me. Those who felt that I could, gave words of encouragement that we could accomplish and do any and everything that we would want to do if we put our minds to it and put our shoulders to the wheel. Life is good. It's even better when you have a community that will rally behind you and give you the opportunity. And we have been fortunate in Wilson, North Carolina, to have such cheerleaders, if you please, that
which I'm chief.
That will tell you. I mean, I've never seen someone from Wilson who wasn't proud of Wilson. I don't care how far I've gone or what I have done. I always want to return back to Wilson.
Yeah, that Wilson pride thing right there, that piece right there.
And we thought long and hard. I have classmates from law school who said, man, I ain't going back to my hometown.
Right.
I said, I can't wait to get there. I mean, just the difference.
Talk about it, brother. And so, doing all of that, I guess, period, all of those various roles, the ins and the outs, what did you do or what should one do? How did you compartmentalize all that and actually take care of yourself? Those sacrifices.
Well, you know, I think I come from a very resilient family. If I look on my father's side, well, if I look at my mother was a tremendous basketball player. Played at Benny in college.
Okay.
My father was a good athlete. I have an uncle, one of my father's brothers, was Joe Lewis's sparring partner. There's another uncle whose name is Harrison Fitch. If you look him up in the news, you will find that he was Harrison Honey Fitch. And Honey Fitch was an athlete who was the first black to attend UConn. University of Connecticut. And he was a 5-sport letterman. He was to play a game that the Coast Guard Academy were the team that they were playing against at this particular game. And the Coast Guard Academy says if Honey Fitch plays, we're not going to play you.
And the reason being?
And the reason being that he was black. And stores, meaning Yukon. Did a couple of years ago, somebody was looking through the record books and they found Harrison Fitch, and so they wrote an article, What Happened to Honey Fitch? When he walked off that campus, he never went back on. And he had a son that he sent to Yukon, but he never went back on Yukon's campus. And so when my cousin saw this article in the alumni magazine, he answered the question. And so he told what happened to Harrison Fitch. And he said, well, for years he's been right here. I mean, I forgot what year Harry died, but it was after the question was posed. And they just hung Harry's uniform up half court at UConn.
University of Connecticut. Wow.
UConn. And he was inducted into Hill House, same school Floyd Little went to, in New Haven, and that, meaning at UConn. So having all of those things that you can draw down on, plus the grandfathers and great-grandfathers on both Mama's side and Daddy's side, if I understood your question, it left no room for you to do anything else but to do those things that was right. It wasn't a matter that, here's the preacher's kid, the preacher's kid always messes up. No, I didn't have that opportunity. My daddy didn't. You asked me a question a little bit ago about something about the most embarrassing or the hardest thing that happened to you.
Most challenging.
The most challenging thing was to get up after I had been knocked down. And I had been knocked down by my father. I was 15 years old playing football at Charles H. Darden. I read my name in the newspaper, and I came home one night, and my sister Pat told me to sit up so that she could sit down. This is a wicker settee set with 3 seats, and seats all around in the den. Instead of her sitting somewhere where there was an empty seat, she wanted me to sit up so she could sit in this seat or this seat or this seat. And I refused to do it. So my grandmother, because there were 9 people in the house, grandparents, and my siblings. My grandmama told my daddy, said, Milton, you need to come in here because this boy is just smelling himself.
And translate that for the younger generation. What does that mean, smelling themselves?
Too grown for his own good. It's a nice way to put it.
Okay.
And so my daddy said, tell him to come up to my room. So I came up to his and my mama's room. And he said, you think you're a man? I said, yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
He said, do you really think you're a man? I said, yes, sir. I'd been hit hard before. Every time my uncle saw us, when he first saw us, he would ball up his fist and boom, pop you in his chest or hit you in your face. And I'd always withstood it. But when my daddy balled up his fist and said, you think you're a man? I said, yes, sir. He said, get right. And I got right. And what I mean by got
so he invented the cliche that term, get right.
So when
get right. Okay.
So when I say get right, I brought my guard in, elbows touching, no distance in between, high guard, chin tucked. Ain't no way in the world he's supposed to get me.
Okay.
Next thing I knew, I was getting up off the floor.
You caught that huckabuck.
And he was writing on the ball. August 23rd.
Oh, okay.
This Scheisen will cease.
Okay.
To the day he died. Many a year thereafterwards, I always remembered.
Okay. All right. Well, that might be an extra spot to wind up on that knockout punch right there. Quickly, want you to respond to this. I'm going to rapid fire, more rapid fire. What is your pleasure? We're going to close out with that. Share as much as you need to. What is your pleasure? Bourbon, scotch, blended gin, rum, vodka, cognac, stump hole, gall cap, or shine?
I've been known to take a drink of all of that.
What in the world? Your Honor?
Once in a
Your
while.
Honor?
Once in a while. Once in a while, maybe all of it at the same time.
You might have to double up on your ties this weekend. Okay, all right, okay. Red bone, high yellow, pecan tan, jet black, no comment. Give us a message as we close out, a message to the masses, a message for families, message for the young, those who are aspiring to leave this evening. Anything you can offer?
Well, the best thing that I would offer is that it's much easier to do right the first time and not have to worry about it. We all have a clock that tells us, or a meter that tells us when we're right and when we're wrong. Listen to your mind and your heart, and don't make just emotional decisions. And everybody knows, as I say, knows the difference from right and wrong. Stay right, you'll never have any problem. Work hard. The world is yours.
And I think King referred to it as the moral compass.
That is correct.
Outstanding. Any more rivers to cross?
Always. Always.
Great.
Because I tell you, when there are no more rivers to cross, you'll probably be gone.
Well.
And Nellie says we always got one more river to cross.
Well, I'm going to still be standing on the banks and aggravate you like I have for the last some years. Oh, I almost didn't overlook this one. Now this one, we'll see if you can get this one. And we're literally going to close out on this one. February 14th, 1964. You remember that date? A date that will live in infamy. Don't worry, I'm going to let y'all do it. As we close out here, our listening audience of this episode of Ambedextrious. My claim to fame, and I've always suggested and offered that in your absence, Your Honor, one of the most monumental moments of my life, on February 14, 1964, I had the blessed pleasure of going down in the pool across yonder street, Jack and First Baptist Church. This is my baptismal
At the same time,
brother.
you and I.
My baptismal brother, and as he says, I am always in his corner. I know he is human, but for me, no faults. And he's just been loyal, open, and serves as the godfather for my baby girl, Buckwheat. I know you're looking in, listening in Kenya, and so I just thank you and invite you back anytime.
Appreciate
Full access. You just let us know, the Lyles Media Group, we're here to serve. Thank you so much.